Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to talk about the topic that is a question that I get asked very often, and that is how I maintain speaking different languages, how I don't mix them up. So here I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how you can maintain speaking or learning multiple languages. So right out the gate, before we start, I want to tell you that for me, I think it's most useful when you are already intermediate to advanced level to solidify your language, and that is when you are starting to see that you won't mix them. That is my case. I don't mix languages usually because I'm already past that intermediate advanced phase. For everyone who is a beginner in a language, or you're not even like intermediate, I would suggest that you solidify your knowledge in that language first until you start to learn another language, because I see that a lot with people trying to learn several languages at one time, and then just mixing up and not knowing how to maintain each language and stuff like that. So I think for me it has been the most useful and natural way to just learn one language and kind of like get fluent in that and then move on to the next one. So that has been shown to be the best method for me personally, and that is always something I recommend for everybody who is learning multiple languages or wants to learn multiple languages. So tip number one is reference. I stress it always that I have references for the languages I speak. So that means like I don't just speak them to speak them, but I actually speak them and use them. So they are in use. Anytime you learn a language and it is not going to be in use, you're going to forget it eventually, or you're going to forget bits and pieces of it. Of course, you can always come back to your memory, but you'll see it when you learn languages in school, for example, and you haven't really practiced like your Spanish in years with it because you don't have anyone to talk to, so you don't solidify that knowledge that you already had in the first place. So it is kind of like floating out there in the air, and it is going to be, a lot more work to get it back. But if you maintain the language that you're learning and constantly keep it up by having reference and having use of it, that's when you're starting to see that you are solidifying it and you are not really like mixing it up with other language. Let's say, for example, you're learning Spanish, and once you find a reference, like a person to talk to all the time, that's what I do with every language. I have people or groups I use the languages with. So I barely have any language that I speak except of like Chinese at the moment, and let's say Italian. So those two languages, not to say that I don't find anyone to speak to, but I'm not like in my natural circle surrounded by people who speak those languages. Other than that, all the other languages, I'm in constant use of them every single day. So it could be more French, then more German, then more Spanish, then more English, but I'm constantly rotating and using those languages. That's why I never forget them, because I have people of references that I use those languages with. So one of my best friends is French, the other best friend is Spanish. So I constantly use the languages I speak. That is something that has come naturally, and then also by the friendships I built. So because they are from different places, that is what I use the languages with them for. With other friends, I speak Portuguese. Like right now, someone wrote me a text message in Portuguese, and the next minute someone is going to write me in French. So it's a constant use of the languages. And if you don't have people in your circle, then go out and look for people. You can do that with so many different things, like joining a community and anything really you're interested in. You can join a community that speaks the language you're learning, and I'm sure you will find one. If you don't find one in your city or place, wherever you are, you can always find communities online. So that is no excuse. You can always find communities and people to talk to online, or you can have a tandem partner also online on apps. So those kind of things. Those things help you maintain your languages. And with that said, you can build up routines in different languages. So according to the language that you're learning, just build a routine around that language and kind of like a ritual also that you do every single day or every week. I would recommend like every other day at least, to, not forget things. It is super important that you build those routines around the languages, because those routines will make you remember things. Let's say like your nighttime routine, everything you're doing at night before going to bed, you can do it like in Spanish or do it in French, and then learn like those different words around doing those things in different languages. And those words will stick to your mind because you won't forget them, because this is something you do on a daily or bi-daily basis. So building routines around the languages you're learning is definitely another powerful way to keep them maintained and not forget them. Okay, next tip is to keep you entertained. What does that mean? Don't treat the language like in school. In school we had like 3 to 4 hours a week of language lessons, and that's it. And then after the lessons, you don't really use the languages. You never do anything in the languages, so they're just there. What you can do to, again, solidify those languages and try to maintain them is actually use them again, but in an entertaining and fun way that you actually like and you enjoy. So for me personally, that looks like watching a series in Spanish, watching the next one in Portuguese, following a social media influencer in Italian, or whatever it is that I enjoy. I do it in different languages. I never stick to just one language at anything I do. I always do things in different languages. I keep myself entertained in different languages. So any social media outlet or any podcast, educational content, anything really I look for, I always try to look it up in different languages according to what I'm actually looking for or what I'm reading. Let's say, for example, I want to read something, I look up a book in English, but then I want to listen to a podcast and I will look it up in Spanish, and then I want to watch a YouTube video and I will watch it in Portuguese. So I constantly keep myself entertained with different languages. And that is how I always hear them. I'm always surrounded by them, and I'm never like, oh, it's been a long time I've heard Spanish. Never ever, because I constantly have something, to listen to or someone to talk to. So those are ways that you always can guaranteed maintain the languages you're speaking. And if you're speaking multiple languages, that are also ways that help you to not mix those languages up. And with that, if you keep yourself entertained with different media outlets, then definitely try out ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is a VPN that hides your server location, so you can actually log in as being in another location. So let's say, for example, Netflix doesn't have your favorite show available in your country, because Netflix does that. Then you could always just switch up your location with ExpressVPN and use it as you like with anything really. You can use it with blocked apps, you can use it with Netflix, with streaming services, with anything really, and I use it constantly. So if I go on Netflix, I switch up my location. For example, if I want more Spanish speaking content, I will switch it up to Spain. If I want something like Italian, I will switch it up to Italy. Whatever you want to watch and is available in another location, just switch up the location and you will be able to watch it without any restrictions. So to get 3 months free, just go and click on the link down below and check out ExpressVPN. So those were the essential tips. I wanted to keep this video short, and I hope this is short and sweet but packed with information. Nevertheless, definitely don't forget to comment and like, and I'll see you guys in my next video.